What's good? It's Khalil Jamar. Hope that all is well with you guys. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. If this is not your first time on my channel, welcome back. Now today I'm going to be talking about Mitchell Hooper. And Mitchell Hooper, he's a rising star in the strongman scene, in the strongman sport, and has been dominating the sport over the last few years. So much so that spectators of the sport and even Mitchell Hooper himself have started to compare him against other strongman greats such as Eddie Hall. If you don't know who Eddie Hall is one of the strongman greats. He's a legend in strongman, and he's really known for being one of the first people ever, not just strongman, one of the first people ever to deadlift over 500 kg or 1100 pounds. Now in Mitchell Hooper's comparison, again, he compared himself against Eddie Hall. He compared his performance on certain events within strongman against Eddie Hall's performance on certain events within strongman. And of course, in his own comparison, he comes out on top. But I do want to myself compare the two, see if I come up with the same result as Mitchell Hooper, or do I come up with something different? Before we get into comparisons, let me give you a background on both of these two, just so you can get an idea of how dominant these guys have been within strongman. Now, Mitchell Hooper, he's a strongman. He's out of Canada, and based on his history, it looks like he really started to rise to prominence and started to make a name for himself in strongman back in 2022. And he didn't actually compete in World's Strongest Man until 2022. He was competing in strongman events before that, but his first World's Strongest Man appearance was back in 2022, and he placed 8th. But within a year, he improved significantly, and he ended up placing first in this year's World's Strongest Man. Now, Eddie Hall, he's a strongman. He's from England, and he started competing a long time ago. I'm not sure exactly when his career started, but he started competing at World's Strongest Man back in 2014, even though he had qualified to participate in the World's Strongest Man back in 2012. And I think it's important to look at where each of these two started out at in their careers, Eddie and Mitchell, because when we look at it and we look at where they started, when it came to World's Strongest Man, Eddie already kind of has him beat out. He placed 6th at his first World's Strongest Man event, and Mitchell had placed 8th. So again, Eddie has him there already. Eddie Hall, he is a legend within the sport of strongman. As I mentioned earlier, he's one of the first people, he might have been the first, now that I'm thinking about it, to deadlift over 500 kg. Again, that's 1100 pounds. Now we're going to compare the two. I'm going to look at what each of them did in several different events. The events that we're going to look at are the loading race. The loading race is when a strongman has to pick up a heavy object, load them onto a platform, and they have to walk to the platform. So that's the difficulty in that challenge, is walking with a heavy amount of weight. And usually they have to walk anywhere from 20 to 30 meters with that object. And that 20 to 30 meters is going to equate to anywhere between 65 to almost 100 feet. The next event we're going to look at is the Atlas stones. This is where a strongman has to lift one of those spherical stones off the ground, place them on a platform, and these stones, as far as I know, weigh anywhere from 160 kg to 200 kg. That's anywhere from 350 pounds to 441 pounds. And usually, as far as I know, there's 5 stones, and each stone, as you place them on the platform, they get heavier and heavier. The next event that we're going to look at is the yoke carry. Now, this is an event where a strong man has to carry a yoke. It almost looks like a modified squat rack, but basically it gets loaded with a certain amount of weight. Strong man has to walk about 20 meters with that yoke rack. The next lift we're going to look at and compare between Eddie and Mitchell is the Austrian oak lift. This is an event where a strongman has to pick up an oak log over their head. In the event in strongman, you'll see them try to get as many reps as possible. The last lift that we're going to look at is the max deadlift. I don't really need to explain that. We all know what the deadlift is. Now, first, we're going to take a look at Mitchell Hooper's performance in these events, and these are his best numbers when it comes to these events. Now, the loading race, he was able to complete that in 42 seconds. That's it, the fastest he's been able to do it. The Atlas stones, the fastest he was able to complete that event was in 36 seconds. The yoke carry, he completed this event within 9 seconds, 9.4 seconds technically, but pretty much 9 seconds. Mitchell had completed this event with 992 pounds by carrying 992 pounds on his shoulders, on his back with the yoke. It's almost 1,000 pounds on his back that he has to walk 20 meters with. But again, he was able to complete that event within 9.4 seconds. Now the Austrian oak lift, I don't have a max oak lift for Mitchell Hooper, but he himself has said that he believes he could lift upward of 451 pounds, which does make sense because he was able to complete 3 reps of the Austrian oak lift at 429 pounds. So his max is probably somewhere around 451 pounds to 460 pounds. Now his max deadlift, I don't think that he's done this officially, but he does have a personal best of 1,047 pounds. But the most that I've seen him deadlift in competition is 454 kg, or 1,000 pounds. Now let's take a look at Eddie Hall's accomplishments in these events in his performance. Now the loading race, Eddie Hall, the fastest he was able to complete this race was in about 47 seconds. Atlas zones, the fastest he was able to complete this event was in 24 seconds. The yoke carry, the fastest that Hall had completed this event with the same amount of weight was in 10 seconds. That's a fraction of a second slower than Mitchell Hooper's. Austrian oak lift, I couldn't find Hall's performance on the oak lift. The most that I did find was that he was able to log press about 470 pounds. I don't know if the two events are the same. Maybe they are. If you know the difference between the two, definitely leave that down in the comment section. And max deadlift, as I said a couple of times in this video already, we already know that he has Austin on this one, but his max deadlift is 500 kg or 1,102 pounds. Now looking at these numbers, the numbers do point to Mitchell being the better strongman, especially because he's only competed in World's Strongest Man twice. He's just starting out in his strongman career, and he's only going to get stronger and he's only going to get better. Now, like I said, Mitchell did his own comparison. We came out with the same result, but I did come out with I came out with the same result, but in a different way, basically. The only thing that's really different between my comparison between the two and Mitchell's is Mitchell believes that he does outperform Eddie Hall on the Austrian oak lift, just because Eddie Hall has not recorded a oak lift over 451 pounds, and that's what Mitchell Hooper's comparison had been based off of. But again, I don't know if the log lift is similar to the Austrian oak lift, because Eddie's numbers there would suggest that he either matches Mitchell where he thinks he's at, or he's even better than Mitchell on the Austrian oak lift. Even if Eddie Hall is stronger than Mitchell Hooper on the Austrian oak lift, Hooper still beats him out in most of the categories, most of the events that I listed today, so you still have to give it over to him. But guys, that is the end of the video. I do want to hear what you think in the comment section. Do you think Mitchell Hooper is going to become a better strongman or have a better career within strongman than Eddie Hall? Right now, if we're talking career wise, Eddie Hall has the better career. Like I said, Mitchell Hooper is just getting started out, but when you look at what Mitchell Hooper is doing now, he's on pace to having the type of career that Eddie Hall and even Thor had within strongman. But again, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure that you do subscribe to the channel, like the video, share your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.